Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for doing this. I have followed you on social media for probably I feel like 2 years now.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, I found your song Woo and my friend and I loved it. We would play it all through. I'm from South Carolina, so we would just
Mhm.
play it. And through that, I moved to LA and there was a line that said, I pray to God for you to use me, so he sent me out of state.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is like me. So what inspired you to do music in general? Because did you have singing growing up, or did you start in church? Have you always been around the music industry? How did you get started?
Yeah. So essentially, specifically that line, like
Yeah.
that was inspired by my real life, like inspired by real events. But it was inspired by my actual life. So like literally whenever I first found out I could rap, ironically, prior to that, like I didn't know I had any musical talent really. Like the only musical talent I knew was like I was in band and I played the flute. So like that was basically the limit to that, which is like kind of like a thing that almost every kid does. Like in middle school, they pick an instrument or something like that. And so like that was the extent to the musical knowledge I had, but I had gotten saved in eighth grade. And then I was like, you know what, God, just use me whatever way you want to use me. And so I assumed like that was just gonna be like either a missionary or like I'd be like the friend that just helps out other people who are doing cool things. But I had no idea what that would mean. And fast forward like about a year or so after that, I found out I could rap in like ninth grade. And so then that's when my life trajectory changed completely. But that's how I found out about my whole musical talent. And like it was random through like a biology class. And so that's
Hmm.
where I found out I could rap. But if you fast forward to now, that kind of led through my school journey of God sending me to Atlanta, where is where I live now. But I'm originally from Texas. And yeah, like he's been using me a lot out here. And so yeah, I pray to God to use me and he sent me out of state. And that's how I ended up over here.
I love that. Oh my gosh, wait, how did you find out? Was it like a biology song or?
Yeah, so my teacher, she wanted us to do like reports on cellular transport. And it was like elaborate, like you had to do like a PowerPoint and like or other things to present it. But one of the options, she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be fancy. If you want to do a rap, you can do that." And I was like, "This is way easier. Why would no one choose this? This is less work." And so I chose the rapping option, which is like totally like off character at the time. Like
Yeah.
nobody was expecting me to choose that. Actually, it ended up going really well, and people really enjoyed it. And so they were like, "Wait, you're actually really good at this." And so that's how I ended up becoming a rapper, essentially.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I remember school and doing stuff like that. I remember we had to do a song like that in sixth grade about like a mummy or something Egyptian, and
Yeah.
I did the bone dance from Hannah Montana.
Oh my gosh, from Hannah
Like
Montana.
that melody. Yeah. In high school, did you do anything in music or did you wait until after?
So in high school, yeah, I kind of started my musical journey. So it kind of evolved over time. So ninth grade, I found out I could rap. And so in that year, it was morely like at lunch, people would do freestyle circles and I would jump along or like rap
Yeah.
on the school bus. Then after that, that summer, like the summer after that year, my church, they have like an annual conference. And so I did the talent show there. And
Mm.
then that's whenever I realized like, oh, this is like a gift. And so like because there was like over 500 kids, like maybe 1,000 kids there.
Hmm.
And whenever I did the talent show there, I saw like how it affected so many kids. So then I was like, oh whoa, this is crazy. So then from there I started like recording songs. Like I went on YouTube and learned how to record and all that stuff. And so that's when it kind of turned into me like actually making real songs. So it would just kind of be on YouTube. I'd make YouTube videos. And then from there it just kind of evolved to me like actually making real songs. And then yeah, and then I just kind of carried it on through college till I got to where I am now.
So when you're sitting down to write a song, what does that look like? Do you start with a beat? Do you start with lyrics? How does that look?
Yeah, so kind of now it starts with the beat. So what I actually started doing, just because I learned about efficiency whenever you're trying to accomplish your goals. So like focus on like what are you good at and how can you maximize your time. So like I'm the best at like writing the words. So I was like, okay, for the sake of accomplishing my goal, let me try to find producers who are killing it and doing what they're doing so I can kill it with the words and we can just
Hmm.
team up. So I like because I used to actually produce, but then I was like, let me just save time. So I started teaming up with producers. So I start with the beat first, and then I just kind of just see like what kind of emotion am I getting from the beat? And that's kind of like where I go. And like, I'm just like, okay, God, like whatever you want me to talk about in this song, let's go. So I kind of start with melodies. I mumble like melodies on top, like da 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 da, like stuff like that. And I form a song out of just the melodies and mumbles, and then I go back and I put words on top of it.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. I feel like I can definitely tell from your lyrics and from your music that it's something you like care about, and it's something that you think really, really disciplined about. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you as well, is because I mean, there a lot of people who listen to my podcast are going into leadership roles, or they're putting some form of creativity out there. And I think with that platform, or with that responsibility, like it's like with power comes great responsibility. Like when you're writing your lyrics, because you are so good at that, like the Decision Project, I love that because it spoke to my Gen Z soul. And I feel like a lot of like Christian music doesn't do that. And it just like isn't fun. And your music is so fun. And it's also like not sacrificing like your faith. And so how do you like discern like what you write down for lyrics? Like what does that process look like in your brain?
Yeah, so I think it kind of boils down to me as a human. So it's like the way I live kind of informs what I'm going to write about. So like I always just make sure I'm intaking things that are going to glorify my mind in the way I think about the world. So like I'm always making sure I'm plugged in at church. I'm plugged in with a small group. I'm making sure I'm reading my Bible. I'm listening to Christian music, you know, just trying to fill my spirit with good things. Cause usually it's kind of like whatever you take in, like that's what's going to come out naturally, and that's what you're going to think about naturally. And so that's kind of like how it then goes into my lyrics. So because I naturally am thinking about the Lord and things like that, it helps with what I'm writing about. And then just even naturally, because I care about those things, whenever I'm writing, I'll double check sometimes. I'll be like, is that in the Bible? Like, let me double check. And then I'll go back to my Bible and be like, okay, yeah, that's what it says for real. It's not just like culture. And then I'll write. But like basically most of the things I write just come out of my natural life experiences and what I've learned in my walk with God, or like, you know, what something God's teaching me in that current season. And then just because I'm surrounding myself with different influences and stuff, I get to learn a lot of things. And it also helps me now go back and like verify in the scripture type stuff.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Do you enjoy living in Atlanta?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I would describe it almost like so I'm from Texas, right? So I would describe Atlanta like a mixture between LA and Texas. So
Okay.
it's like LA, but you get like the Southern hospitality of Texas.
Yeah, I like Atlanta. I was gonna move there. I just feel like it's a good vibe. Like everybody's nice there. And you're right about the Southern hospitality part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't know. Like I agree with you in terms of like going back to the scripture and like double checking yourself. Is there any other like tools you have when you're going through the day, like to kind of like keep yourself accountable?
Yeah. So I would say in life, just accountability,
Yeah.
like making sure you have quality friends. So if you have friends who are trying to go the same direction as you, that kind of helps you keep you accountable, because they'll notice like, oh, you know, that's kind of off character. What was that? Also just because like you feed off of each other, like so you're gonna kind of pick up your friends' habits. Like you might notice like yourself saying some words that your friends say all the time. So like having friends who are trying to go the same direction is a way to help keep yourself accountable, because you'll be influenced by them, they'll be influenced by you. I think just also I've been learning a lot. It's kind of cool. We talked about it in church recently, like media. So like that's another way to keep yourself accountable too, because like people don't realize like your music really affects like what you think about and kind of leads into your actions. So like I try my hardest to like intake Christian music and music that's like pointing me to God. So that way I'm thinking about God, or I'm singing because you know how you randomly sing a song that just is stuck in your head. So that way like the things I sing about too are making me think about wanting to do that. And then even just like media I try to watch influencers or YouTubers or just them people like that who are like trying to go a good direction and not trying to lead me down the other path and stuff like that.
That's so good. That's so true. I feel like that's really looked over because it's so easy to just consume stuff all day. And people don't understand the power of that, because when you like if you have certain control over some aspects of your life, like taking that away from like your phone or just whatever, like really, really probably helps. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like who are some of your favorite people to follow?
I follow this girl named Sadie. She's pretty fire. I like watching her podcast and everything. Like she actually is a really cool YouTuber. She was like on Duck Dynasty. She was like the
Oh,
daughter.
Sadie
Um,
Robertson?
yeah, so she's
She's an
really fire.
icon.
So I like following her stuff. Like she's like another cool example of someone who's young and just unashamed of their faith, but like normal. And
Mhm.
so I would like her content. I like a lot of TikTokers. Like I love laughing. So there's a lot of funny TikTokers out there, honestly, who are like hilarious. But will teach you Bible stories or encourage you to like do the Christian thing. So I think that's also one of my favorite ways of intaking content. But like those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. And I saw on your social media you recently got engaged.
Yes, I did.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
How does that feel? Do you feel like a new woman? Do you feel awesome?
Yeah, it's really interesting because like wow, like I'm literally gonna be married soon. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of fun. So like we recently like did an engagement shoot. So stay tuned. Those pictures are coming soon. But it's a lot of fun. I think it's really cool, like just getting to see that I'm gonna embark on this new journey. And like I love older people. Like older people just have so much wisdom and stuff like that. So it's really cool, like talking to some older couples too, and like seeing their new wisdom for life. And like I think it puts me in the mindset too of just like realizing like because like you're a kid and then you grow up and stuff, but like realizing like, oh, like this is how generations are made. So it
Mhm.
kind of makes me think about my decisions more of like what are the things that I'm doing, because I'm gonna eventually have a kid too and all that stuff. So like what are the things I'm doing and like what will we do in our future marriage that will like impact the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're already thinking of the next steps. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have a routine, like a Devo routine or a morning routine that you stick to, or is it kind of just something throughout the day that you are participating in?
Yeah, it's kind of evolving. It's so funny because this morning, ironically, I was like making one and I was
Mhm.
watching different videos about like discipline and stuff like that. But for the
Oh,
most part, I kind of wake up. I put on some like worship music to start the vibes of the day. I pray and I usually just pick a devotional or a chapter. So it just depends what season. Some seasons I'm doing devotionals. Some seasons I'm like, oh, let me read this chapter of the Bible. And so then I'll just like read that and kind of reflect. And usually what happens is after I reflect on it, then I'll be like, oh, snap, that was crazy. And I'll go on Twitter and then like tweet about what I learned or like
yeah.
make a Instagram video about what I learned. But that's kind of like mostly my routine. And then after that, it's just kind of like seeing what I have to do for the day and getting to work type stuff.
I love that you shamelessly want to just like put that out there. Like as soon as you learn something, you're like, oh, I want to share this because it helped me. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I often like stop in that. I don't know if it's like Satan or what. Like I feel like I often like stop in those tracks because I'm just like, oh, look, I don't want to come off as like, vain or like what I learned is like the only way. Like, how do you have the confidence to put that out there?
Yeah, I think this is like my natural inkling whenever I see something cool, like I just want to tell somebody. And you can even bring it back to like TV shows, right? Like if you watch a cool TV show, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I need to tell my friend, like you need to watch this show. It's so fire. And so I feel like that's like my natural posture towards like the gospel and things of God. Like I'm like, wow, that was so fire. I need to tell somebody about it because it was so fire. And so it's kind of like a natural thing of like, because it's so good and it's something that's going to elevate people's lives, like I want to tell them. And so I think that's what gives me like the confidence to want to share things with people.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love your tweets. Like your tweets are always so good and they're so spot on and revolutionary. There's one that I wanted to talk to you about that said, stop
Mm-hmm.
matching energy, set the tone.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is something that is so hard to do because it's so easy to walk into a room and just like soak in the energy or just
Yeah.
like not really speak up or be different, especially when it comes to faith. But even in a not faith circumstance, like if people are doing something that doesn't, I don't know, like how would you like back up that tweet? Like what inspired that tweet?
Yeah. So it inspired, like my pastor helped inspire that tweet. So my
Yeah.
pastor, he was going hard at church. But yeah, it's like kind of like a series that we're talking about how like a lot of times we're doing things because like that's just what we do in culture or that's just what everybody else is doing, but we don't stop to think like, oh, we're children of God. Like we should be leaders. Like we should be the ones setting the tone in society. People are looking to us. Like, it's like, if you say you serve this amazing God, then apparently you should be amazing. Like, what are you doing? So I think it's just really like important just in life. Like we can't be watching what other people do. Like me as a rapper, I think it's really easy to get caught up in like, oh, what is the world doing? And what are the people who are famous doing? Let me copy them. But it's like, no, because if what they're doing is leading into destruction, why should I? That would make no sense to copy them. So it's like, I have to reflect and find confidence in who God made me to be, and find confidence in just the values that come with following him, and set the tone and be like, this is what we're doing. This should be your standard, and let other people look that way. I think Kanye, to an extent, like he's trying to do that, because like a lot of people would normally be like, oh, I have to do this to be successful. And he's like, well, I'm gonna make music about Jesus now, and this is what I'm doing. And y'all are gonna just follow suit, and y'all gonna follow me. So I think you just have to set the tone and just say, this is what I'm gonna do, and these are my standards. And then other people have no choice like but to respect it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And what's your favorite song off Donda?
I still have to like kind of get through it. Like
Yeah.
there's so many songs that I'm like, I don't even know the title yet. So yeah, but there's like some cool ones on there though. There's some cool ones on there.
There's some cool ones on there. I haven't like listened to the album in full, but I agree. I have always loved Kanye, and ever since the whole Jesus is King era, like he's so brave for doing that. People don't understand like how much backlash he's probably getting. And he's so brave for just doing all this stuff for God. So I'm really like, I look up to him just creatively, and yeah, I think he's amazing, and he is really doing that. He is setting a new tone, and he's doing it in his own way, which is fun, which you are too. You are doing your own thing, and I think you really are set apart from a lot of other artists, and you really speak to a certain target audience. Do you have that in mind, like when you're writing songs? Like, are you like, oh, like I want to reach younger people, or I want to reach, or whatever? Are you just like being you and like seeing where it's receptive?
Yeah, it's kind of like half and half. So like it's half like I'm just being me, and like whatever God told me to say is gonna get said. But now as I'm getting kind of older-ish, like I'm kind of like reflecting on like, okay, who is the music sticking with the most, and like who are those people, so I can like kind of hone in on those people. And I feel like, you know, just God like in life in general has been like showing me just different things in life of some people who I'm like, oh yeah, this is like who I make music for, because like these people need hope, and these people need like encouragement. But I definitely know like I make music in general just to encourage people, that to be unashamed about their faith, and to encourage people like, hey, it's okay to be a Christian. If you're gonna do it, be bold about it, have fun, live your life, have joy in it. And so yeah.
That's amazing. I am obsessed. I am looking forward to whatever's coming up next. Are you working on anything right now?
So it's like the beginning baby stages probably of a project. But other than that, I'm working on some singles. But for the most part, I've been experimenting with different styles. So I've been experimenting with like some R&B singing, but we also have the hype situation. So you just never really know what you're going to get next, but just know that it's going to be fire, and we have a lot of heat in the vault.
I'm excited. I love your music. It is what I go to when I need motivation, or just like want something upbeat, because I'm not like, I don't really listen to rap music. Like that's just like not who I am, but like I love your music, and I think it's so fun and fresh and new, and there's just so much happening with your future, and I'm excited to see what you do. So yeah, thank you for coming on my podcast today. If somebody wants to follow you or find your music, where can they?
Yeah, so you can follow me on all social media platforms at OMG It's Wande. That's OMG ITSWANDE, or my website omgitswande.com.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.